The Cowboys free up even more money with a Dak Prescott switch. We'll talk about all of it with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. He will join us at 8 o'clock this morning here on Shan and RJ. Good morning, Metroplex. Bobby Belt is out sick. We got Pepe and Aiden running things on the Twitch, the YouTube, and the fan cam. Now that we got some money to play around with, overthecap.com says the Cowboys have the 8th most available money. If you sign Micah Parsons, you create $10 million more of spending room. What could you possibly do with it? Well, you got the wide receivers that are out there. That's the first thing I'm thinking of. You got your Cooper Kupps. You got your Devontae Adams. Well, yesterday, you got even more wide receivers thrown onto the pile. The Seattle Seahawks said goodbye to Tyler Lockett, who Brian Schottenheimer knows well, and DK Metcalf officially requested a trade. He apparently prefers a contender. So Lockett, DK, Christian Kirk got released by Jacksonville. It feels like you can add a wide receiver if you want to.
Oh, you can. And, I went and looked up Lockett and see, because, look, this was like the worst statistical year that he's had in a long time. And he is 32. But his grade on PFF was 65, for whatever that means. But his average yards of separation was 2.5. It was over 2.5. It was 2.7. 2.5 is like, it's kind of like, all right, that's your line of demarcation that you're really looking for. He was higher than Amari Cooper. It's higher than DK. It's higher than T. Higgins. It's higher than A.J. Brown this year. Higher than Ayuk. Guy's getting open. I think you could say that if you were to put him as your number 3 receiver or even your number 2 alongside CD, because CD takes up so much, and his age, I don't think he's going to get a massive deal.
Yeah. I think the easy, quick comparison is like Tyler Lockett, Brandon Cooks.
Right, but Cooks fell off here. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I would have to go see the yards per route run, all that stuff, because that really dipped for Brandon Cooks as well.
Over the past 4 years, he had 73 catches, 84, 79. Last year, 49 in 17 games. The yards per catch went from 16 4 years ago and plummeted by 4 yards a catch. He went from 16 a catch to 12 a catch. Supposed to be a solid locker room dude. How much of his game is predicated on things that would decline as you get older? Brandon Cooks was a speed guy.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and lie and break down and analyze, pretend like I've analyzed Tyler Lockett film. I don't exactly know what the game is predicated on. You could ask your guy Softy there in Seattle how much he has left.
Right. But it's if these numbers match up to what they're seeing on tape, which is that he's still getting open, that the yards of separation are still fine, I don't see why you wouldn't throw a flyer at him. I don't think it's going to cost you a ton of cash.
You feel okay about him as a cheap 3?
Yeah. If he's cheap. I think you can get away with him as a 2 if all this matches up with what you're seeing on film.
DK.
Oh, boy.
Vegas with the odds on his next team. Look, we can talk about Cowboy receivers and adding there all we want. The team that is at the top of every prediction list is the Green Bay Packers to get a true one for Jordan Love. The Packers lead the way in Vegas for DK to go to at 3-1. The New England Patriots, Matthew Berry from NBC heard that the Patriots are desperate to find a 1 at receiver for Drake May. They even called the Eagles about A.J. Brown. So the Patriots are 2 on this list. Then the Raiders and the Steelers. Then the Chargers, Cowboys 10-1. The Texans 12-1 for the services of DK Metcalf. You got to factor in the highest price of all that you would trade, and then the money.
Yeah, because if you get him, look, Debo just went for a 5. You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna get him for that. It's gonna go much higher than that. You can make the case if you're going to get him for that, then absolutely you go after him.
I'm thinking about a 2.
Yeah, he's 27. He's young. He's got a lot of time left, you would think. He will probably age pretty well because of his physicality. Those guys that are physical, they can kind of age better maybe than speed guys because they don't rely on it. Physicality doesn't necessarily age like that. But, can you pay 4 guys making $30 million a year? That's what he's going to want.
Yeah. I'm feeling out on DK. He also should be better given his physical gifts, in my opinion. Too many times the DK Metcalf disappears. It feels like Jackson Smith and Jigba Rockwall was going to take over there as the number one. DK can also have some maturity issues. He'll snap. He'll go off. Stud 2, I don't know if I'm relying on him as my consistent 1. And do I want to give that up and pay that to my stud 2?
Yeah. Well, now listen, you don't have to here, right? Because CD's your 1. So you don't have to worry about him being your 1 here. Like Cincinnati.
But then I'm saying, do I want to give that up and pay that much for a 2?
Right, like Cincinnati's going to be in this predicament. They're going to wind up paying that kind of money for a 2 with T. Higgins.
And if I was Cincy, I would not pay Higgins. I would let Higgins go. I got a quarterback great enough to raise all tides or ships.
Absolutely, yeah.
And keep Jamar.
Now, the one thing for DK, Shoddy was there with him. And he had a really good 2020 season with Shoddy, or 2019. So they have a history. Maybe that helps. Maybe that would help Schottenheimer, try to convince Jerry, or he would know him more, intimately, knowing like, hey, no, stay away. So that there's also that part of it. But I mean, if you want to have, $100 million tied up in 3 guys between Micah, CD, and DK, I mean, you can make that happen. One trade, but it's going to cost you.
All right. What's happening in the Micah market? Are the Cowboys getting burned by a leaf falling to the ground? Max Crosby got 3 for 106. That includes 91.5 guaranteed. That makes Crosby the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. 35.5 per year as Micah Parsons waits.
Yeah, that's basically a fully guaranteed deal. 91.5 to 106. That's basically a fully guaranteed deal.
I love what he said, too. I just love the makeup of Crosby. He said, yeah, going somewhere like Kansas City and winning a championship would mean nothing to me. So the whole Kevin Durant bandwagon NBA thing.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I want to win it in a place like the Raiders where you build and get it done on your own.
Now, I wonder, like, if this where it gets dicey for Micah, if there's one guy that's up at $35 million, could Micah be taught to do a team-friendly deal? Well, now you've got multiple guys at that $35 million mark. Right? Bosa's up there. You got a couple receivers up there. Right? They're all in that area. Does this mean that Micah, does the league, the NFLPA, basically nudge him, hey, dude, you got to reset this market again? Max didn't really reset the market. Max got just a little bit more. We need a reset where now we get to $40 million. You're the guy.
Well, you better hope TJ doesn't get paid in Pittsburgh.
38, 39, 40. Because if that happens,
just a little bit.
Is Micah going to sit there and be like, yeah, I'll be the 6th highest paid edge? I mean, I don't know. Especially if he's kind of hinted that he's not in this thing for 10, 15 years.
Jerry yesterday said there are terms and things to work through before getting Micah's deal done. He doesn't see it as something that will get in the way of free agency. Quote, here you go again, the stubbornness. I don't believe that not signing Dak or not signing Lamb hurt us in free agency last year at all. So he's just going to hang on to that till the very end. Of course, the legal tampering window for pending free agents starts on March 10th. Mike is not a pending free agent, but just so you know, March 10th, first day of the league year is March 12th. And then speaking of pass rushers, one of the Bosa boys is available as the Chargers yesterday said goodbye to Joey Bosa.
How about that? Is that something you're interested in? He's always hurt.
Always hurt.
Always. He's made the Pro Bowl, half the time.
5 times.
But he is always hurt.
The move saves the Chargers $25 million. He's 29 years old. It just feels like a bigger name than player to me. Yeah. When you look at the production and the games played, I'll take it from 2021. He played in 16 games. He had 10.5 sacks. Then he played in 5 games. Then he played in 9 games. Last year he played in 14 games. He only had 5 sacks. The production has fallen off a cliff.
He's not
along
the same
the games.
Guy. He's not the same guy, man. He just isn't. And
feels like a A Bosa boy reunion in San Fran. Some people are saying that's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question. Those guys don't. Those two Bosas.
What a nightmare for California fans.
They don't fit.
The
they
Bosa
don't fit
boys.
San Fran, I don't think. But it's he's gonna get suitors. People are gonna ask want his services because he's a name, but when he's healthy, he's not terrible. But you can't pay him $30 million. You can't pay him $25 million. This is a smart move for the Chargers.
Ben Johnson starting to build that line. Michael Lombardi, friend of the show, and Bill Belichick kept making fun of the Bears last year, saying, "Yeah, you got all these cool weapons. You can't block for squat. You're getting Caleb killed." Well, the Chiefs traded Joe Thuney to the Bears in exchange for a 4th-round pick.
That's it. A 4th.
People love Joe Thuney and have for a long time.
Now he's getting older. He's like 32-ish.
32.
He's getting older, and obviously, we saw Zach start to kind of fall off a cliff, with his health, for one, and also that manifests itself into your play. But people love Joe Thuney, and he has been a really solid player for a while.
He was an 80 last year on PFF, a 79.9.
Ooh.
Other odds from Vegas, will the Vikings re-sign Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
Yes is the slight favorite at -180, a 64% likelihood. But his next team, who leads the way?
The
Dallas Cowboys. Were you about to say Chicago?
Those are the Chiefs.
The Cowboys are 5-2, plus 250 to get Aaron Jones. Then Pittsburgh, the Chargers, and the Denver Broncos. Will the Steelers re-sign Najee Harris? 78% no. His next team, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Browns. No thank you to Najee Harris.
No thank you.
For me.
No thank you.
I learned with my fantasy team.
He is barely gets 4 yards of carry. I'm out on that one.
Will the Vikings re-sign? This to me is the greatest mystery going in the league right now.
Darnold?
The Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy Vikings decision. Will the Vikings re-sign Darnold for next year? What does Vegas say?
No.
No is -450. So 82% that he's on another team next season. The decision came out not to franchise tag him the other day.
Yeah, the moment they didn't franchise tag him, it's like, all right, they're probably going to just go with McCarthy, and that's the smart thing to do. Like, just unless he's not healthy, or unless you saw something from Sam that was like, okay.
Are we dinging him too much for his end of the year couple of games after he was in MVP conversations for the surprise team, you could argue, of the year?
Yes. Yes, we are. They are. Those are huge games. They were the two, arguably the best two teams they played all year, or two of the best in Detroit, and then who was it? Who was their playoff game? Philly, right? Yeah. So those are two of the better teams they played, but he looked bad.
Sam Darnold's next team, according to Vegas and Bet Online, the Raiders. 5-4. The Raiders are scrambling, looking for any quarterback. Schefter said that Pete Carroll could reunite with Tyler Lockett, Seattle days. Yep. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Pittsburgh at 2-1 for Darnold. Giants, Colts, Jets, Saints, Titans, Browns, Seahawks. And then you got Jameis Winston. Will the Browns re-sign Jameis? 87% no. His next teams, the Jets, the Giants, Steelers, Raiders, Dolphins.
So, Pittsburgh.
Matthew Berry says that they would prefer to have Justin Fields now over Russ.
Over Russ,
yep.
Yeah. But you said you brought up Darnold there, and then you brought up Jameis there. They are becoming the new Colts, where the Colts would just get an old, washed-up quarterback.
Yep.
They went from Rivers to Matt Ryan. They had Carson Wentz. They're just doing that. And now Pittsburgh is, they brought in Russ, and now they might bring in Winston or Darnold or Rodgers instead of just getting somebody in the draft.